Peace, y'all. It's the Lord here, Cold World. I'm over here kicking it with my main man, Jay Wicks. What's good, sir?
It's good, Brody.
I cannot call it. Just want to welcome everybody to another episode of Brody Sports Talk. We are officially at episode 14, moving our way to 20 episodes here, moving right along for the first season. I think we'll have to decide on an end date for season one so we can start promoting season two, baby.
That's a good
But
idea. Heck yeah.
yeah. But again, if you're not following the Brodies, you need to follow us at Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you haven't been tuning in, the Brodies are at over 350,000 views and counting. We are on our way to 500,000 views, so we definitely appreciate the support. Again, you need to be following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. And also, our Stars for Stars fundraiser is still on and popping here. Please donate your stars here via Facebook. 1 cent equals 1 star. And we'll be donating all of our proceeds to the DMV local Boys and Girls Sports Clubs here. We'll be donating money for financial support for sports equipment. Again, you never know, you may be sponsoring the next superstar. But to go ahead and kick things off here, basketball season is in full effect. We just had the halfway mark, which is the All-Star game or All-Star weekend. Football season's over, so basketball is, primarily, the focal point now in sports. But to basically kick things off, man, let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. The NBA has been suffering for a while now, ratings wise. We talked about that in a few episodes, and they're just, I don't know, man. It's like they're running out of ideas to keep people engaged. In this All-Star weekend was, I would say, the straw that may have broke a lot of people's backs, if you will. Pause. But it was terrible from the start, from the celebrity game to the lackluster dunk contest, where you had 3 people who had a collective average of 5.5 points a game. And that's only because one person averaged 12 points, another person averaged 3 points, and the other one, who was in the D League, who was a 3-time champ now, who doesn't even play, who doesn't even have any point average. But, of course, the 3-point championship, I don't even remember who competed. And then this stupid tournament with the European team, the OGs, and the Rising Stars, yeah, all this other stuff. So, and then to put the icing on this layer of cake, if you will, is the false prophet LeBron James. I said it. Shout out to Tony Bronex on Facebook, my main man from McNamara. Everybody, Sean Waller, talking smack. I had to let it be known they're always talking smack. They're like, Jay, why you always got something to say about Bron? Because he's a false prophet. And every single time he does something like this, he proves me right. This dude had the nerve to arrive to All-Star weekend and call in sick an hour before tip-off. And then had the nerve to take pictures in the All-Star with the All-Star team in street clothes. Now, people are like, "Oh, hey Jay, it's not that big a deal." Excuse me for being a man of principle and a man of character and a man of tradition. Because when we grew up, right, Wiggs, the All-Star game was the mecca of all exhibition games, man. It was the best against the best. And like LeBron's generation, I'm not blaming it all on him, even though, like Stephen A. Smith said, he's been the catalyst of this. And that is players not respecting All-Star weekend. And I don't understand what it is. I mean, they're getting paid regardless, so it's not like it's affecting their pay. But like, at the end of the day, if they're going to keep disrespecting the game or disrespecting the tradition of the dunk contest or the All-Star game, just scrap that shit and entirely, like the NFL is doing. Because like this method, I'll give it to them. It was a little bit better. They were a little bit more competitive. I'll give them that. But it's like, why can't we get that out of the best of the best? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I before I ramble on, man, what do you think, man?
Yeah, no, I think you make some great points. And I'll start with LeBron because I think you're absolutely right. And like you said, others have said it. I think I'm thinking about the LeBron false prophet part. That's funny to me. But I think this is the biggest stain on LeBron's legacy, and that says a lot because this is really just a minor afterthought when you think about the actual playing careers of players. The Olympics is more important than the All-Star game. The regular season and the playoffs are more important. So this isn't a big deal, but it's a big deal because, like you said, this means something. It's like the Hall of Fame means something, and the players respect the Hall of Fame, and the All Star Game is kind of like the pre Hall of Fame. It's you're an All Star for that year. You get recognized. You get celebrated. They have a whole weekend where they're celebrating the skills and the talent and the product. And I don't want to say we've diminished the product, but we're not celebrating the product. And I think that's a big difference in just our generation. It's something that our generation has done, and I'm guilty of this as well. Is we don't celebrate ourselves enough. We don't celebrate our product enough. We've been very critical of the NBA, and I think rightly so because the product looks different. But I think Oscar Robertson speaking up this weekend. I don't know if you heard his quote, but he
Oh
basically was
yeah,
speaking up against Draymond because Draymond was saying, he didn't like the the passion in the All Star game. He didn't like the new format. He didn't like the rising stars getting a chance to play. And Oscar Robertson was like, "Yeah, because all you do is pass to Steph Curry." Like
yeah,
that's a jab. First of all,
yeah.
um,
I
did you want
mean,
to say that?
he definitely hit below the belt, basically saying you don't do nothing. All you do is just pass the stuff.
Yo, so that was a good jab by Oscar, but it was also for me, it was a good reminder that we have to celebrate the game. It's like I'm gonna be Shannon Sharp for a second. It's like going to church. You don't just go to church and hope that the choir gets you ready. You're supposed to go to church joyful yourself. You're supposed to go to church ready to celebrate and ready to give praise to God. If you just go to church and sit down and wait for them to do everything, you know what I mean? They're saying that's not the right
Yeah,
way to approach it. I would say that's similar to kind of where we are in society right now. Our generation is definitely bitter. They told us to go. I'm getting off track a little bit, but look, they told us to go to school, get degrees, everything will be fine. We see the way the economy is. For all stars, let's start with LeBron. LeBron going back to the dunk contest. LeBron didn't feel like the NBA was honoring him enough. And I do agree with him from the aspect of LeBron at the time, I think was making millions, but the amount of money that he's bringing into the NBA, he should just be a partner. That he's the face of the league since he came into the league. He should be making as much money as the owners are making because it's just like the Caitlin Clark effect. Every stadium that Caitlin Clark goes to is packed. Since LeBron has been in this league for over 20 years, every stadium that he's gone to has been a packed stadium. And at the time, LeBron didn't feel like the All Star game was giving him enough. Now, I think that's where I have to go back and say, I think this is where LeBron was a little short sighted because he didn't understand that there are some times where you have to give to the game. And there are times where it's what Jordan did and what Kobe did. Kobe did the dunk contest, I want to say his rookie season or his second year in the league.
yeah,
Um, he didn't have to do that, but he respected the league as much. He respected the league so much. Same with Jordan. None of these guys had to do that. They weren't getting paid crazy amounts of money, but it meant something to them.
yeah,
Once LeBron said that the All Star weekend doesn't mean anything to me, he was the first one to start diminishing the weekend. He was the one that, when Kobe wanted to pick him up 94, 92 feet from the basket, LeBron was shying away from taking on the challenge because to him
hmm
it was the All Star game. This isn't the big deal. Well, LeBron, we never got to see you and Kobe go at it in the championship because you didn't get it done then, and this is the best next thing we had. Kobe was ready. You weren't locked in the way we would have liked to see you be, And it's been, again, like I said, this is the biggest stain I would say on LeBron's legacy. It's not a big deal, but it is something that I think a lot of people are valid about when it comes to LeBron. I mentioned Oscar Robertson and Draymond. I think Oscar was spot on, and you need to be reminded by the OGs, by Unc and stuff like that, how to move in this world. So I definitely want to give Oscar Robertson some credit because he's absolutely right. Like the product is not what it used to be, but it is still a good product. When you sit down and watch it, it is still a good product. I can still watch basketball over baseball. I can still watch basketball over hockey, over soccer, over a lot of these things. I'm just on my phone more. That's who the NBA is competing with. The NBA
Yeah,
is competing with Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and video games. I was
yeah,
playing freaking NBA 2K25 this weekend more than I was watching the All Star game because it was more fun for me to play the game than it was for me to watch the game. So that's who the NBA is competing against. But Oscar Robertson is right. It's a good product. It's just a different product, and you have to appreciate it in different ways. We can't look at it the same way we looked at it in Jordan's era. It's not the same game. Um, but like you said, I think they did do a better job of making the game more competitive. I love seeing Wemby out there. Wemby's like, I want to win. He hates losing. I love that about Wemby from the Olympics to the regular season. He's like, I'm not here to make friends. I didn't understand when people said that, years ago about LeBron being friends with D Wade and all these guys, but you see it now.
yeah,
He's not taking it serious. And we need guys
yeah,
to take this stuff serious. Now stop trying to be friends with guys out there when it's time to compete. And
yeah,
then I'll just say the lack of creativity was the last thing that was a concern for me for All Star Weekend.
yeah,
From the dunk contest um, to the skills challenge, it's just getting a little stale. And I think it would be better to just take a year or two off. Like let the players feel what it feels like to not be named an All Star because there is no All Star game.
yeah.
That'll get people, hype again because this is it's something again to be celebrated. So
Or,
sometimes you have to
or,
lose. Go
or
ahead.
like well, first let me just say one thing as far as what you were mentioning as far as our generation. I, I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Like the recognition after we've been told what to do, or the I guess like the reward that we were expecting because we went through the gauntlet. Oh, you got to go, you got to do this, you got to do that, and once you complete that, you'll get this. And then when we did all that, that wasn't the case. But I think now that I'm getting older, I'm seeing like, hey, look, that's not the reality of things. And our generation, despite all of our hard work, innovation, and and brains, pause, we are the most entitled generation of all time. Like we're in a microwave generation. We want everything quick, fast, in a hurry. We don't want to work for stuff. And because we've become so advanced in certain areas where it's allowed for us to make a quantum leap in certain areas, like how YouTube has enabled a 7-year-old to make $1 million versus them, going through the pain gauntlet and becoming a millionaire at 45 or something like that. So the process has been sped up. So the work ethic really isn't there like it used to be. And Jordan said this years ago when he was being interviewed by Oprah, and he was like, he's afraid that his success is going to coddle the next generation, meaning people are going to get shoe deals without winning anything. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can go back and look at it, bro. He said it. You know what I'm saying? People like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and countless others, John Morant, Derrick Rose. The list goes on of players that have gotten shoe deals and haven't won anything. At least the bare minimum, wear a scoring title or an MVP or all-star, you know what I'm saying? Just to show that you're worth the ticket price or the $150 or $180 pair of shoes that you're charging me for or whatever. But like because of that entitlement, like they think they're above the law. Like you said, LeBron James has been the face of the NBA for the past 20 years. So it's kind of like senioritis. I can walk around, I can do whatever I want. I'm LeBron James. What you gonna do?
Hmm.
And I get that, bro. But it's like you've been a BAN for 20 years too. You know what I'm saying? Like it started with the decision in Ohio when you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and and it's and how you've been handling rosters like a virus. Every single time you've gone to a certain team, the coach gets bounced. Certain players get traded when you give them that look at the national anthem. You know what I'm saying? It's just a habitual pattern with this habitch. You know what I'm saying? And I love him, but I hate him at the same time. And like little things like this just continue to prove why I'm like, look, this is why I can't put you in the GOAT status. Has nothing to do with nothing else, but it's like little things like this, you know? And I like the tournament, don't get me wrong. But I think what they should do is make the tournament for all stars. Or if you're gonna do like a segmented type of tournament style, just do international versus USA and just keep it simple.
Hmm.
But like I agree with Draymond. He's like, if you're not an all-star, you shouldn't be on the all-star court. You know
Completely
what I'm saying?
agree.
I agree with that. You had your time in the Rising Stars. Good luck next year, but you're not an all-star. You don't belong on the same court with us. I agree with him on that. You
I
know,
completely agree.
now as far as the dunk contest goes, I mean, I think the biggest thing they should do is they need to just say, hey, look, if you guys don't want to participate, what we're going to do is we're going to jack the style of TNT and all these other underground shows, and we're going to have a dunk contest go out throughout the entire year, all the way up to All Star season, and we're going to have 10 finalists or 5 finalists or whatever, street balance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the top three cash prizes, the winner gets $1 million. Second prize 500,000, third prize 100,000 or something like that. And I don't know, like sponsors for your local basketball team or something. You know, but
Yeah.
like anything to like just galvanize the fans, man. Because like no disrespect to your boy McClung or McCrung or whatever his name is, but I don't, and it ain't got nothing to do with race. Even though I'm tired of seeing a white boy win a dunk contest in Black History Month, it has nothing to do with it. But I'm tired of seeing a D leaguer win something that
Right.
Jordan won.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a great point, and it's like just be who you are. The NFL got rid of the tackle part of the All Star. It's not All Star. The Pro Bowl
Pro Bowl.
weekend because the players weren't tackling. The way they weren't playing it like a real game. So it's like, all right, let's just take this out and make it flag football. They also did a thing where they have the celebrity flag football, and a lot of people were more interested in the celebrity flag football game than the Pro Bowl flag football game because the celebrities are trying to win. So
Right.
it's kind of like you said with this dunk contest. Again, let's take it away from the players. If y'all don't want to do it, let's just go get the best dunkers of all. Mac McClung, you can be in that group because honestly, you're not an NBA player. You're a D leaguer you've made more money in the dunk contest than you've made in the NBA.
Right.
So you're not really an NBA player, you're a dunker. If that's the case, let's go get the best dunkers and make it a spectacle of dunking. Let's highlight dunking. Let's highlight those things that people want to see because that is what the league now is tall athletes that can run. The taller you are, the faster you are, you're gonna have a spot on this team. Can you shoot? Can you rebound? Like that's what the game is, and that's what you. Again, when you watch LeBron and Giannis, those are the players that stand out because those are the tallest, the fastest. And then it's interesting to throw in a Jokic because it's like, wow, how is Jokic able to compete with these guys when he's not the fastest or the tallest?
Yeah.
You know, that's what makes the game interesting. And when you have the teams that aren't built like that, it takes away from the whole thing. Um, so it is something that the league, the NBA, is going to have to keep working on. But I do think this weekend was needed. Sometimes you have to talk about things to get things figured out. They tried something different. I think, like you said, next year let's keep trying new things until we figure it out. I
Yeah.
love the USA versus international idea. I think that's a great idea. I think like with Wimby is going to be a great ambassador of the league, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I've been saying this LeBron's whole career. He's gonna have to listen to his doubters. I know sometimes when you're successful, you get that way because you don't listen to the doubters and the haters. But I would like to see LeBron listen to his doubters. One of the things people talked about LeBron for a long time, the flopping. Let's end the flopping. Let's less. I mean, I don't think he can come back and do the dunk contest now. But the way he's dunking in game, he could still. I think LeBron could still dunk from the free throw line. Like, take
But
it serious.
here's the thing about the dunk contest. These young cats, they are overthinking it way too much. You don't have to
Exactly.
be Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was creative. Like that's what we like to see in the dunk contest. But
Hmm.
there have been dunks in the dunk contest that were just like power dunks or just
Just Jordan
something
from the free
that
throw line. Like,
yeah,
that's
something
just
that normal
amazing.
people don't do. Like
Exactly.
I was watching the old highlights of I forgot his first name. I think it was Jason
Dominic.
Richardson. He played for the
Oh yeah,
Warriors.
Jason Richardson. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and him and this other dude that played on the Sonics. And this dude literally just did a left-handed jump, a left-handed dunk, but he cocked the joint back and just threw that joint down with authority. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that got a 50.
That's
So
it.
it's like we're not asking you to do a 720 windmill from the free throw line, brother. Like you're LeBron damn
Yeah.
James. You can jump out of the building. Just show us how high
Just
you
do it.
can jump and throw this down
Exactly.
with authority, bro. Like
Yeah.
that free throw line dunk from Jordan is an iconic picture now
For
because
real.
and it was one of the most basic dunks you could think of.
Yep. Yeah. Kobe didn't do anything spectacular, and it goes to this. LeBron is afraid to lose. Let's just keep it real. LeBron didn't want
Yes.
to lose. He didn't want to have a loss on his resume at the time. I can't
Yeah.
remember who was
That's a good
doing it, the
point.
years that he was thinking about it. But the reality is, LeBron didn't want to lose. That's all that really was. Is he was afraid to lose. He's worked on that. That's why I said, like, I would like to see LeBron listen to his haters, because a lot of times his haters are telling the truth. I think Mario Chalmers said it about him when they lost the championship to Dallas. He's like, bro, LeBron, you're the best player in the team. Stop acting like, you want to pass and defer. Take over the damn game.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to see, the passion in LeBron. Um we want to see you be the best. Kobe might not, because he still has Kobe and Jordan ahead of you.
I want him to be his optimal
But
self. It just have
yeah,
to
we
be
want we
better.
want yeah. But that's all we want to see. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else about the All Star weekend? Any other
Nah,
thoughts?
I think we hit all the nails on the head there. Let us know what you think, Brody's on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Again, you need to be following us. Click on the bottom right hand corner on YouTube and like and subscribe here. Again, we're over 350,000 views and counting. But switching back over to the reason why the Brodies are here, and that's football. We're commanders here. I got the DC sports on for basketball. It's basketball season,
Okay.
but it's still football over here. But now that the off season is in its preseason stage, if you will, definitely want to address some of the needs here of the team. So the next take here is needs to command, basically position needs for Washington. We here at Brody Sports Talk have already discussed the offensive and defensive side. So we'll go ahead and kick off with the offensive side here. So the top three positions on the offensive side that we need is left tackle, running back, and wide receiver. Now, I'll take the offensive. I'll take the left tackle. You can tackle the special players there or skill positions, wigs. But as we're going into the off season here, it's so important that we protect Jaden Daniels. We're in a position right now where we're the people don't want to admit it because it's the Commanders. They don't want to say it, but the Super Bowl window that they talk about, it's open, baby, and
It's
we're in
right
year
now.
one of it.
It's right
Okay.
now.
And the reason why is because we have an elite quarterback under a rookie contract, which is the number one ingredient in the Super Bowl formula, right? Now we have a couple of skilled players on both sides, and Mikey Samerstill, McLaurin, Frankie Louvu, and so on and so forth. But that ass whooping we took in Philly told us that we're still a couple of pieces away. We got the coaching, we got the ownership and management. We're good to go there. We're checking all the boxes here. Now we just need a couple of more pieces. The best I would say out of the top three, out of running back and wide receiver and offensive lineman, if I had to choose one, we would have to get an offensive lineman, and that's only because we need to protect Jaden Daniels' blind side. We need a left
Now,
tackle.
let me ask you this, Co. What do you think of Brandon Coleman? I know they said he was a guard. He was originally drafted as a guard that they wanted to play tackle. I think he filled in at left tackle this season. What were your thoughts on Brandon Coleman? And where do you see him transitioning if we do get a left tackle? Where do you see Brandon Coleman, the rookie, transitioning on the line?
Well, he's going to have to shift over to guard because he's got a guard like build, but he has tackle arms, if that makes sense.
Right. No,
So
I
like,
got you.
yeah,
His
so
arms
like
are longer. His arms are long enough to play tackle, but he's built like a guard.
exactly. So they tried him out at left guard. He did pretty solid, but he's more of a natural fit at guard. So whether it's through free agency or whether it's through the draft, if we secure the left side, we can shift him to the inside, whether it's left or right guard. Most likely, will probably he might get pushed to right guard until Cosme comes back because of that ACL injury. But moving him inside to guard will shore up the security there. We already got our center. Be honest, he's definitely legit. He's a Pro Bowler in the making. So left tackle, he's just as young as Jaden, so they'll be playing for the next 10, 15 years together. You know what I'm saying? And if we can get ourselves a bookend like Trent Williams or something like that, bro, like the offensive line will be locked up. I mean, and then of course we got the draft and more free agency to provide depth. But as far as like if I had to choose one out of the three, I'm taking offensive line because not only does that help protect Jaden, but it also produces a nice run game, run blocking as well if we get like a running back. But as far as running backs and wide receivers, who would you take as far as necessity?
So, like you said, Commanders, the needs are there. For me, I think the wide receiver need is the one that I see over running back. We still need a running back, but we're able to utilize running back by committee. You saw
Yeah,
what we were able to do with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. I like the way that McNichols and Rodriguez filled in. I just felt like I could see what Cliff Kingsbury was doing in his other offenses with what's my name, James Conner, my man James Conner, and
hmm
for the Cardinals, he utilized James Conner in a way where he was very effective. I would
hmm
love to see them get a running back that can just do it all instead of saying this is our third down running back, this is our first down running back. Let's get a running back who you can't game plan for, and then let them be explosive.
yeah,
And then again, wide receiver, it was just a position of need all season long. They filled in, they did a great job getting Noah Brown early. I think he's going to be a free agent again. So I wouldn't be against re signing Noah Brown. I thought he came in very handy. He came in very great this year. Caught the Hail Mary pass for us. Just a big turning point in the season for us. De'Ami Brown is an unrestricted free agent. I wouldn't be against them re-signing him. He
yeah,
filled in very well at the end of the season, and I mean, I think Jaden makes these guys better. Like you can definitely our whole team, our whole offense. Nobody expected our offensive line to be good. Nobody expected our skill position players to be good, and they all had great seasons thanks to Jaden. So I think you're right that the offensive line is the first priority because they even made our running backs look good with Sam Cosme out in that playoff game versus the
hmm
Eagles. Our running game was non-existent. And again, the Eagles have a great defense,
yeah,
but Sam Cosme was a big piece to our offensive line, and him going down in that game or before that game was a huge missing piece for us. Um, I think the only thing I would say about the offensive needs, I actually liked Coleman at the tackle position. So I wouldn't be opposed to them going to a right tackle because I do think you're right. Like it's harder for guys like a Coleman to go from the left side to the right side. So if he does move, he would have to, I think, go to just left guard. And no, I
yeah,
don't. I wouldn't want him on the right side of the line. I would just keep him on the left
yeah,
side and
yep,
keep him at guard. And that would be crazy if we get a tackle, Brandon Coleman at guard, and like you said, Biotish at center. We know Cosme's going to come back at right guard. So then we really just need a right tackle. So for me, I would kind of my first reaction would be if we can get a tackle, get the tackle. Because like you said, a bookend tackle like a Trent Williams, can be there for 10 years, nothing to worry about, nothing to think about. It's just like having a good quarterback. If we can't get the tackle, I'm okay with Brandon Coleman at tackle and going for another guard, going for a right tackle for depth. Um, and then I would say wide receiver next and running back last.
Yeah. I mean, keeping Jaden Daniels upright is the most important thing. I would say, this, despite what people were saying, I would take a running back before a wide receiver, and here's
Mm.
why. Jaden Daniels led the team in rushing last year. We can't have that. We can't have that. You know what I'm saying? And Brian Robinson was this was supposed to be his breakout season, and he's shown me that he has the potential, but I'm afraid he doesn't have the durability. Like he's you know what I'm saying? Like I don't think he can shoulder the load of being the every down back because he's just shown that he's been brittle. Like in the Saints game when McLaurin caught that pass and like they grazed his helmet and he was laying on the ground writhing in pain. I was like, this dude is like Anthony Davis, man. It's like Mr. Glass over here.
Yeah,
But
he has some injuries late in the year that were like, I don't know if I would call it brittle. It's just the way the season works in the NFL, and you
yeah,
have to be tough. You have to be tough to basically fight through the pain. And
yeah,
you can't fight through a broken ankle or a broken leg. And
yeah,
maybe that's what was concerning him. But yeah, it definitely hindered his performance as the year went.
yeah. And then Eckler, shout out to Eckler. He had a great resurgence year, but he's gonna be a year older and he's one more concussion away from, being having to retire. So and then you mentioned Rodriguez and McNichols. There's too many hands in a cookie jar. Like they're all good players, but none of them are good enough to snatch the start and roll. So I would say a lot of these running backs, for the most part, I mean, it ain't like we're going to break the bank on any of them anyway right now. So it's not going to really hurt us if we cut them, or at least maybe bring like one or two of
Right.
them back or something for a practice squad reason. But go out and draft another one, man. I mean,
I could
might
completely
as
agree.
well. You know what I'm saying? And as far as wide receiver goes, I mean, we'll go over this once we cover all the free agencies as far as top five free agents in the wide receiver series. But I mean, Higgins is going to get tagged, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to look it up, but I don't really think there's any other free agents out there right now legitimately that are worth a squirrel fart if you think about it. Everybody else
Yeah.
is either 1 year left on their deal and,
And
talking about getting
old.
traded.
It's a lot of old guys and a lot of injured guys outside of
Yeah,
T. Higgins. Yeah.
yeah, you got Cooper Cup, Saucy Sassy Samuel. I mean, shout out to Sassy Samuel, but if I'm not gonna lie, if he came to Washington, I ain't gonna front. I'm like, oh damn, we might have a
Hey,
chance,
that,
but if this
I was
Bama
about to
show
say
up
that
in some
we're gonna be
freaking
at
leather
training camp.
cargo
Like, let's
pants,
go.
you know what I'm
Uh,
saying, man, with the
uh,
halter top on, I'm like,
I'm starting
I
to
don't
think
know,
that
man.
that might be who we get, and it's I don't want to say it's unfortunate because he has talent, he has skill, but he's injured. He's often injured, and he's more of a gadget play receiver to me. He's not running
Yeah,
routes the way that you want him to run routes.
yeah,
He's a special type player. I think Cliff could use a player like that. That's because Cliff is a special offensive coordinator and he knows how to get players involved. So
yeah,
he could help us, just like, Cliff did great with Austin Eckler. But when Brian Robinson was out and Austin Eckler had to fill in, he's not an every down back. He couldn't
yeah,
get the hard yard. He could get the hard yardage here and there, but he wasn't doing it consistently. Like you said, nobody could take this.
take the
Nobody could take the
reins.
position, take the reins, and just run with it. So I would love to. I think I agree with you. And like I said before, I would love to see us get in every down back in the. I think in the draft. I think receiver and running back we can definitely get in the draft. I would like to see what free agents we can get as an offensive tackle, just because draft picks we have the first round is late, and then second and third round are going to be late. So we're not in position like we were last year to get the best players. Now we did really good. I think Brandon Coleman was the third or fourth round pick.
Third round.
Um, yeah, third round pick. So if we can get another third round lineman that's as good as Coleman was, that would be great. And if we can use the first two picks, so let's say the first pick is on a wide receiver, the second round on a lineman, and the third round on a running back. I would love to see that in the draft. Just go offense, 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 and then defense from there because we need all the. I mean, the team is gonna go as Jaden Daniels goes. Bless you.
Yeah,
The
thank
team
you.
is gonna go as Jaden Daniels goes. So, like I said, offensive lineman first with the first round, wide receiver with the second, and running back with the third. And unless there's a running back there that we really like, if Ashton Genty goes, and falls further than he's supposed to fall, I think they said the Cowboys are going to take him. But if he goes later, shoot, take a Ashton Genty, take a chance on a running back that you really like because it would do wonders for our offense. So
Yeah, I agree. I think, now that you mention it, I think running back will probably be a position they go via draft. Offensive line, they may go via free agent because there's a lot of free agents out there. And we'll cover that, Brody, within the offseason to go. But switching sides on the ball here, super pause. Um, we got the defensive side here. Now, here are the three positions of need. It's pretty obvious: edge rusher, linebacker, and secondary help, i.e., cornerback or safety. Now, out of the three, I'm saying edge rusher is going to be the top priority, mainly because you can kind of kill two birds with one stone. You need a pass rush. That's number one. If you have a decent pass rush, our secondary as is right now is automatically going to be better, and we need to stop the run. The biggest reason why we lost in the NFC Championship is because we gave up 7 rushing touchdowns. Okay, 7.
that's one
Now
game.
that's in one game, and this is Madden. Okay, 15-minute quarters, not 3-minute quarters like in Madden. So that just go. And here's another thing about the run defense that people don't understand, and I'm so glad it happened this year. We faced out of the 17 games, over 50%. Get this stat here, Wiggs. Over 50% of the teams we played had a top 10 to top 15 running back. Over
Wow.
50% of our games. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? They had
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley twice, right?
Right.
We had Bucky Irvin. We
Yeah.
had who else? Tracy. Tracy was actually a pretty solid running
For the
back.
Giants. Yep.
Bijan Robinson.
Yep. Bijan
Um,
was nice.
who else did we play? Um,
Trying to
trying to
think. I
think.
mean, it's a lot of
Derrick
teams, but
Henry. Derrick Henry.
okay. Yeah.
You see what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep. Derrick Henry.
So
Yep.
I'm glad we played arguably like the hardest running back roster this year because it exposed a major need. Our run defense is way worse than our passing. I trust our pass defense. At least we was picking the ball off in the playoffs.
Our pass defense. This is what I'll say about our pass defense. You could see with our pass defense where exactly the problem was. Like Benjamin St. Juice got exposed. It was very clear that our line is doing enough. Our linebackers are doing enough. The secondary, Benjamin St. Juice was getting exposed. As soon as we brought Marshawn Lattimore in, it helped kind of close the gap.
Yeah.
Marshawn was still getting scored on here and there, but he's getting scored on by AJ Brown. He's not getting scored on by the third receiver or something like that,
Yeah.
like a no-name receiver. Like Benjamin St. Juice couldn't cover anybody. So when
Mm-hmm.
Marshawn came in, it's like, okay, we're starting to do a couple of things. We're getting a little bit more interceptions. We can we can run our defense a little bit differently. So it was very clear on the passing side where the holes are. On the running side, we have Bobby Wagner. We have 2 great defensive tackles who we say are great in Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. We drafted Johnny Newton. So our line is supposed to be good. But like you said, we started noticing as the season went along, these teams are really running on us however they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just stick it to the playoffs. The Buccaneers weren't running Bucky Irvin enough. The Detroit Lions weren't using Sonic and Knuckles enough. I'm trying to think of the Lions running back's name. I can't.
Jameer
It's
Gibbs
passing
and
me.
David Montgomery.
Jameer Gibbs. Jameer Gibbs was running all over us, and they just started passing the ball. That's a bad offensive coordinator issues. But our defense was not stopping the run. So that's every it's the line, it's the linebackers, and it's the DBs and it starts up front. You got to make that front seven better. And I think you're absolutely right. Like the play that Saquon Barkley had that he took for the first play against us, Dante Fowler was on the outside. He got pushed inside, and you hope with somebody like a Miles Garrett that doesn't happen. If Miles Garrett can contain that outside like he's supposed to, Saquon has to come back inside, and that's where the
Don't be making
linebackers
no
are.
free predictions, Wigs.
And that's where the linebackers are. But if you
Yeah,
can't contain that outside rush as the DN, the red Saquon can hit the outside, and now it's him one on one with the DB. That's easy for Saquon. Jeremy Chin, get off me. Now the linebacker tries to make it. I'm too fast for you. I hit the edge. It's a lot of talented running backs in the league, like you said.
yeah,
It was good for us to get exposed last year, so we know what to focus on this year. And I think you're absolutely right. It's defensive end first. What I would like to see next would be a young offensive linebacker. I'm not offensive linebacker. A young outside linebacker, because I think we need to bring Bobby Wagner back. Bobby
for
Wagner is a
one more
free
year.
agent,
I
but
agree.
we need to bring. Like, it's imperative that we bring Bobby Wagner back for another year, and we can maybe get his replacement the year after. But we need another outside linebacker. Frankie Louvu did great, but I think we need another linebacker to cover and play the run a little bit better. Louvu was good covering the run on his blitzes, but when it was just man to man, he could get pushed around a little bit. And then I would say DB's our last one. Like I said, we got Marshawn Lattimore. I think with the healthy offseason, he can make an improvement. Improvement. I love center still. Our safeties are good enough. I would love to see us if we can get one of the top safeties that are good coverage safeties. I'll be happy about that. But but just for need, I think you're right. Defensive end, linebacker, and then DB for me.
Yeah. And again, Brodies, this is all something that the Washington franchise can address in both the draft and in free agency. We'll be covering all of the top free agents for each position, and we'll see if we can correlate that with the needs of the franchise. But offensive lineman for me is well for us is number one on the offensive side as far as need, and defensive line edge rusher for the defense as well. But definitely let us know what you think here, Brodies. You need to, again, be following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube here. Click on the bottom right hand corner and please subscribe and show your love. But moving on here, to address free agency, we're going to start a little series here with the top five free agents. We're going to start off with the quarterbacks here. The Brodies are in agreement with the top fives. And we're going to be mentioning two outliers that are technically going to be free agents once they get released, but we're going to go with the official agency list here. Why don't you go ahead and start them off with number five, Wicks?
So at number five for top quarterbacks that are free agents, I'm starting off with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco filled in this year at the quarterback position for the Indianapolis Colts, and I think he did better than again Anthony Richardson when he filled in. The receivers got more yardage. The team looked more. The team was running the plays that it looked like they wanted to run. They were more on schedule with the plays they wanted to run. I think Joe Flacco is not done with his career. He sees that he can perform, and I think he would be very very helpful for a team. Even if he again has to come in as the backup, I think that's a position that he's adapting to accept. Like I don't need to be the starter, but if I can be on the team with a rookie or on the team where I would say like the Vikings could be a good fit for Joe Flacco because Sam Darnold wasn't a great runner. He was a really good passer. So he can be Joe Flacco can come in and help them transition to their first round draft pick of last year. So I have Joe Flacco at number five. What do you think about Joe Flacco at number five?
Yeah, I like it, man. I mean, this is one of those limbo years where the free agency pool isn't going to be the strongest. But I mean, from a quarterback standpoint, you want to have someone who's savvy from the pocket, who's not going to be a distraction in the locker room or anything like that. I love Joe Flacco. He can still throw the ball with the best of them. I mean, honestly, if he would have been starting from day one, they could have probably made a playoff run in Indianapolis. And honestly, they would have brought him back in Cleveland. You can make another argument as well for them. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be a year older, so like mobility is still going to be the Achilles heel for him. But if he goes to a good team that has a solid line, I mean, yeah, I mean, why not, right? God forbid if he were to get hurt, I feel like he goes to Philly, and God forbid Jalen Hurts get hurt. Flacco can take them to the championship, because he can still throw
Absolutely.
from the pocket,
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely agree. So who do you got for four?
So at four, I have Jameis Winston, and I think Jameis and Joe Flacco are close, and I'll give Jameis the nod because he's a little bit younger, has a little bit more just in his career wise. So if you're looking to sign somebody, Joe Flacco is a 1 year type of signing, and Jameis is somebody that you can sign for 2 or 3 more years easily. I think the biggest thing for Jameis is what does he want to do after his career? Because we saw
Right,
what he did during the Super Bowl. He was a
right.
hit. He was a sensation. You know, Jameis is somebody to really look up to when it comes to just how he speaks as a presenter, as a speaker. Jameis, he's getting the credit now, the credit that he deserves. He's just a great human being, and I think he's great in the locker room. I think he can have too many turnovers though when it comes to his play on the field. So that's why I have him at number four. Again, I think Joe Flacco might be a little bit better of a passer, but Jameis is a little bit younger, a little bit more mobile. He still commands the pocket well. He can still, I think he had a 400-yard passing game this year, so he can still sling it. So get him in the right offense. I think Jameis can still be pretty dangerous. What do you think,
Yeah,
Doug?
I agree. I agree, man. He's a gunslinger, man. I mean, Jameis Winston played a role in my championship run in fantasy football because I had Jerry Judy. Okay, and when he went through that little points resurgence because famous Jameis was spinning the ball for him. So, I agree. Like he hasn't been delivered from turnover from interceptions like he prayed to God for. I think he still needs to fast on that. But like you hit the nail right on the head. Like if he's in the right system, he doesn't have to do much. Like when Jameis is asked to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game, that's when you get those multiple picks. But if he's throwing 25, no more than 30 times a game, then you give yourself a fighting chance. I'm just using this as an example, but imagine if he was in San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? He's got the stout run game. He's got a dink and dunk offense that's not going to ask much from him, and he can lean on the defense to keep them in the game. Like something like that. And Kyle Shanahan, he's a quarterback guru. Like yeah, he can save anybody. So yeah, I like Jameis Winston. So far, these two people, Flacco and Jameis Winston, are going to be brought on to a team, but most likely as a backup role and not as a starter.
Yeah,
But
more as a bridge quarterback for sure.
yeah. Now, the next person you have coming in at number three has a potential to be a starter. Who's that?
So at number three, I have Justin Fields coming in as the top three free agent quarterback. Um, this one is very interesting to me because this is where on my list, we talked a little bit about this before we started the pod. This is on where on my list I had Justin Fields, and I wasn't quite sure does Cam Ward or Shador Sanders go over Justin Fields. That's why this position in the free agency is very very interesting because Justin Fields is still young. He's still extremely talented. He has NFL experience. So if you're a franchise and you have an option of using a high draft pick on a Cam Ward or a Shador over a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, who you know can just plug and play, do you go with Justin Fields or do you go with a Cam Ward or Shador? That's a
Mm,
very interesting conversation to me. And I think Justin Fields can really succeed. I think having the year under Mike Tomlin was really, really helpful for him. One, it just helps with ego. You know, you have the tough year where you go from being a starter, they bring in a rookie. The rookie doesn't have that much more success than you did in Chicago. So mentally, you know you can still
mm,
play. But just being with again, a really good coach like Mike Tomlin, There was no distraction from Justin Fields, and I'll give Justin Fields credit. There weren't any distractions in Chicago when they were thinking about getting rid of him. Again, he's a first round draft pick, a starter in the league. He didn't have any distractions in Chicago. He didn't have any distractions in Pittsburgh. So this is a really good professional player. He's going to come in. Like I said, he's already experienced. If I'm at the top of the draft, Justin Fields is on my draft board, free agency board. Like he's somebody I'm seriously considering. What do you think, Co?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he showed promise. I mean, he had a winning record before Russell Wilson took over, and people forget he had 1,000-yard rushing season a couple seasons back. Like he's pretty good. Now his passing, obviously, he's not the most developed passer. You know who he is? He's another Jalen Hurts. He only has a few passing routes on his repertoire. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly who I was
So
thinking,
it,
Co. I'm like, if you put him on Philly, do they? I don't know if they win the championship, but he's Jalen Hurts. That's a
he's
great
right
point.
there, yeah. So like, and I keep using the Niners as an example because technically they don't have a quarterback right now. Like Justin Fields and under Shanahan, can you imagine that? That's crazy. You know, like he has a couple of shots to become a starter. I mean, the Titans need a quarterback, the Giants need a quarterback, the Browns need a quarterback. I mean, shit, the Steelers need a quarterback. So he has a shot to get a starting position somewhere. I think he would be a great pickup. It's just a matter of how they handle free agency. But you about to say?
What do you think? I like the Jalen Hurts comparison. What do you think about somebody that played under Kyle Shanahan, RG3? What do you think about the RG3 Justin Fields comparison when RG3 was healthy? Do you see them as the same player? Because I think they have a lot of the similar liabilities in that RG3 wasn't the best pass processor. You know, like when we
No.
look at
Yeah.
Jaden,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
before the play, Jaden is processing what the defense looks like. After the play, as soon as the play starts, Jaden knows his
Yeah.
where he needs to go. That was something RG3 struggled with, but he still found success with Shanahan. I think to your point, Justin Fields with somebody like Shanahan could work. Um, it's got to be an offensive coordinator that plays to his skill set, though.
Yep.
Too many offensive coordinators come in and say, "Do what I want you to do." I told you about Russell Wilson last week, changing the plays at the line of scrimmage. It works, and the offensive coordinator is like, "Do what I say." This is what Russell does. This is his skill set. Why are you taking away his skill set? It'll be
Yep.
very similar for Justin Fields. Is he with a coordinator that uses his skill set the right way?
And it's funny that you mentioned that mentioned his fellow quarterback in the quarterback room. Who you got coming in at number two?
And number two, we'll go right from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson. And again, I mentioned it, or you mentioned it. Justin Fields had a winning record as the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh, but the savviness of Mike Tomlin and the owners knew that if Justin Fields started another game, it would cost them a draft pick. So they said, let's see what Russell Wilson has. Russell Wilson came in, played phenomenal. I mean, just great thinking by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson came in, played phenomenal. So now, again, they're not getting anything for these quarterbacks, but everything is not about what can I get for you. It's what can I show the league. It's and again, I just got to shout out to Mike Tomlin because he's not here to hold players hostage. He's here to make players better. He said that before the season started. If you have a player that's on your that you draft and they're not getting better, he took that as a coach, I'm not doing my job. If you came in as a high recruit and you didn't get better in the league, that's my job as a coach, is to coach you up. You saw Russell Wilson look better than he did in Denver. You saw Justin Fields look better than he did in Chicago. I love that about Mike Tomlin. I have high hopes for both of these quarterbacks. Again, it's got to be a system that works with Russ. I hope that Russ is thinking about that um, with his next position, with the experience that he has, that he's not just going somewhere where it's not a good match. We saw it was a bad match in Denver. It was a better match in Pittsburgh, but still has some issues. The next place has to be a place for Russell where it makes sense because if it doesn't, he might as well stay in Pittsburgh. It sounds like they're not on the same page with that. They may be going in a different direction. But if I'm Russell, I'm either staying in Pittsburgh or I'm going somewhere where I can make the changes at the line of scrimmage because that's the experience and the skill set that I have. Uh, any thoughts on Russell Wilson, Co?
I love it. I mean, I'm still a big Russell Wilson fan, despite what people may think. I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's no longer a first ballot quarterback. I think that interception in the Super Bowl against the Patriots kind of sealed that off for him. But
Cost
he's
him
definitely a Hall of Fame
dearly.
quarterback. He knows what he's doing, and he just needs the weapons. I think Cleveland would be a great spot for him. But yeah, I think Russell Wilson still has enough in the tank to manage the team well enough. He's not like I said, he's not that guy that needs to be throwing the ball 30 to 40 times a game. He needs to be throwing it 25 to 30 times a game. So he needs to go to a team that has a primary run defense. Tennessee, he'd be great in Tennessee right now because that's all they do is run the ball. You know what I'm saying? Bring him in, draft Travis Hunter. Now you got some playmakers. You got a little bit of money in free agency. Bring in another tight end or another weapon or something like that. And the AFC South is trash. So now you're a division title
Number one
contender.
contender. Yep.
Yeah, and now you got a chance to get to the playoffs. So definitely agree
That's
with
a
that.
great point, Co. That makes me think of the Steve McNair, Eddie George days. Like Russell Wilson can come in and be Steve McNair for the Titans. And Steve McNair was an MVP.
Yeah,
One of his seasons in Tennessee. So Russell can definitely go to Tennessee. They got a good enough defense. Get a another running back. They have a decent running back. I can't think of his name, but get
Tony
another
Pollard.
running back. Yeah,
They
yeah.
got Tony
Tony Pollard
Pollard
did.
and
They have
Spears,
somebody else too. But yeah, yep,
Spears or
yep.
Shears,
Spears, I
one of
think
the
was a
yeah, I
rookie.
can't,
Yep.
yeah. So
But yeah, he could go in
they got
there.
something there, and their defense is
Beast.
pretty solid.
Their defense is pretty good. They played very well against us, but Jaden Daniels again was a little too much for the Titans. But they had some key pieces.
That
I like
kid
their
Jake.
defensive tackle. So they definitely have some pieces. That's a great suggestion, Co. I like that for Tennessee.
Yeah. But coming in at number one, he fumbled the bag, but he's probably going to get paid the most out of all five. So who do you got coming in at number one?
He's definitely going to be the number one quarterback free agent. It's going to be very interesting to see where this guy goes. And number one is Sam Darnold. This is going to be very interesting because, like you said, he fumbled the bag with two bad losses at the end of the season. Not just one, two bad losses. He looked every concern that you had about Sam Darnold, you were able to see at the end of the season. He's not mobile enough in the pocket. Um, he's not creative enough. With talented wide receivers, he still was only able to score 6 points
Yeah,
2 games in a row. That's an issue because if we get talented wide receivers, the whole point is to be able to utilize them. He couldn't even get them the ball once the rush started getting to him. That's a big concern because, again, we saw what Jaden did versus the Lions. I hate
hmm
to keep bringing Jaden into this, but we saw what Jaden did to the Lions. He made the Lions look like they had a third, the third, whatever of the defensive side. Sam Darnold couldn't handle the Lions, so
yeah.
that was just a bad look for Sam. He's still going to probably get 30 to 40 million, which is crazy thinking that Saquon only makes 13 million and Sam Darnold is going to command 30 to 40 million. Um, but he showed a lot this year. He got the Vikings to 14 wins, I believe. Um, and he can sling it. He can throw the ball. You can see what he can do with top talent. Now, obviously, that may change once the playoffs come around. But if Kirk Cousins can get $100 million contract after $100 million contract with one playoff win, Sam Darnold can too. So,
Hey, no bull, yo, no bull.
so
I think, I mean, he's number one by default because he's the youngest. I think he's like 27. Yeah,
he might be younger than that, Co. It's crazy how young he is.
yeah, he's people think. I mean, he's been in the league for a while, but he's very young. Like I think when he was drafted, he wasn't even 21, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah, no,
So
yeah.
technically, from a quarterback's aging standpoint, he hasn't even reached his prime, which is 30 years old. Same thing with Justin Fields. But so since he was the most successful, he's going to command top dollar out of all five, and which is understandable. Who's going to be dumb enough to pay him 30, $40 million? That stay tuned, folks. Like, like that has yet to be seen. But with Sam Darnold, his thing is he's a system quarterback. He is Kirk Cousins reincarnated. You put him on a good team, good coach, solid play calling. He's going to win you a few games. Now here's the thing: if you want a quarterback that's going to give you 10 to 12 wins, 3,000 to 3,800 passing, 30 to 35 touchdowns, and a playoff loss, Sam Darnold's your man. If you just want to, if you want to be a perennial playoff contender, and that's it, you don't want to go any further than the first round. Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold is your guy, baby. Okay,
For
you
real.
want to start off 9-0 and then lose five straight. Sam Darnold's your guy. But two more wins after that, you're in the playoffs at 11-5. So, like, I say all that to say that Sam Darnold is going to be that prospect that people are just going to continue to believe in, because right when you think he's some shit, he does something and be like, damn, like if only he can do that more consistently. We need to find the right people to put the right tools around him. So I keep using this guy as a reference because he's the quarterback guru. If he goes back to San Francisco, he's gonna do the same stuff that Sam Purdy did. I'm
Brock
sorry,
Purdy,
Brock,
yeah.
Brock Purdy did.
Yeah.
So it's all about where he goes. But since he's the youngest, since he has the most upside outside of Justin Fields, he's going to be the top quarterback right now. Now there's three quarterbacks that aren't free agents that I think are going to mess everything up once they potentially get released, if they get released, and that's Matt Stafford out in L.A., Aaron Rodgers out in New York, and Kirk Cousins out in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is gone. They already said in New York that Aaron Rodgers is gone,
Yeah.
and Matt Stafford. They're still kind of work the kinks out as far
Yeah.
as if they're going to give him an extension on his contract or not. But if those three quarterbacks get released, this entire list just gets, what I'm saying, voided.
Yeah.
Maybe outside of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. You know.
Yeah. That's going to be very interesting because there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, and it feels like there are a lot of quarterbacks available. Um, like I said, for the Steelers to have Russell and Justin Fields, and to basically be like, we're going to try something else. This just shows you why the top 5 to top 10 quarterbacks make as much money as they do. And it also shows you why I think the league is finally starting to figure out maybe we shouldn't pay Kirk Cousins $100 million if
Mm-hmm.
he's a system quarterback that needs so many pieces around it. Maybe he's not the missing piece that we need. So Sam Darnold really might have messed the money up. We'll see how it looks this year coming up. But he really might have messed his money up in those last 2 games because he didn't take the Vikings further than Kirk Cousins did. He got them the regular season wins, but what is the regular season if you don't do anything in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
It's really nothing. We play this game to win the big one. The big one is the Super Bowl. If you're not winning playoff games, you are who we thought you were. And Sam
Yeah.
Darnold is who we thought he was. He's a system quarterback. Kirk Cousins 2.0. There's nothing wrong with that. Was it Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins 1.0? Kirk Cousins before Kirk Cousins. Matt Ryan made it to the Super Bowl, but lost to Tom Brady. So you can be one of these guys, but you're going to need the defense to back you up, just like Jalen Hurts. I saw a stat that was very interesting in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The Chiefs versus the Eagles. The Chiefs in their Super Bowl parade had a shirt that said 0 sacks given up. 2 years later, in the Super Bowl, they give up 6 sacks. The Eagles win. Defense wins championships. All these quarterbacks on this list need to go to teams with defenses, need to go to
Mm-hmm.
teams with good offensive coordinators. We don't have enough teams with good offensive coordinators, and that's going to be the issue for these quarterbacks next year. It's going to be very interesting to see where these quarterbacks land, who the coordinators that they land with, and what those teams plan to do for the season. Because, like you said, and like I said, a lot of these quarterbacks are going to be bridge quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold and Justin Fields are the young ones. Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston may be starters, but Russell could end up being a bridge quarterback. Jameis could end up being a bridge quarterback. Joe Flacco bridge quarterback. Aaron Rodgers. You think
Yep.
you're that guy, but the
Kirk
way
Cousins as well. Matt
Kirk
Stafford. I mean,
Cousins, yeah,
a lot of these people don't have much time left on the clock anyway. Like Joe
yep,
Flacco has maybe 1 or 2 years left. At this pace. Aaron Rodgers 1 or 2 years left at this pace.
that's it.
Kirk Cousins maybe 1 or 2 years left at this pace. The only person that you could, I mean, Matt Stafford, same situation. So
Yeah,
the only Russell Wilson, the only
one or two.
quarterbacks that have a chance to have more than a 3 year stint left is Justin Fields and Sam Darnold.
That's
So,
right.
that's pretty much the gist of it there, Brodies. Let us know what you think on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Again, we're over 350,000 views and counting. So definitely want to say thank you for your support and love out there. Next week, we're going to be covering the running backs, the top free agent running backs.
We need
We'll
one.
stay on the offensive side, and then we'll move to the defense later on next month. And yeah, from there, man, we'll continue to monitor the NBA. We're in the second half of the season. SGA is looking like the front runner for the MVP. I would say the alien, Mr.
Defensive
Victor, is probably
player,
going to get Defensive Player of the Year. So got a lot of stuff to cover. College basketball is picking up. Maryland for
looking good, man.
bruh. Like I haven't
Shout
paid
out to
attention to
Derek
Maryland
Queen.
basketball ever since Juan Dixon and them back in '02.
Yep.
And it's good to see that they're actually looking like an actual contender into this year's
Sh-
tournament.
Shout out to Derek Queen, top five prospect, playing in Maryland, playing center. I mean, this kid has great footwork, great hands, great under the bat. He's a real center that plays under the basket. Really, really looking forward to Maryland in in March Madness this year.
Yeah, can't wait to cover that, man. And we'll be obviously keeping up with everything as far as free agency goes. Yeah, we'll also be doing some more top five series, with just a bunch of other topics, man. There's so many topics going on.
Yep.
Coaching, top five coaches. We already did a top five dynasty. Got some great feedback off of that. Y'all definitely appreciate the love. We actually got over 1,000 views for the top five series. Brody Sports Talk episode 13 or BST or Bestie 13. Over 2,000 views and counting. So definitely appreciate that. Our TikTok page is where we talk the most smack. Definitely ruffling the feathers over there, baby.
Hey, yo, the
We ruffling
TikTok
some
is
feathers
funny,
over
man.
there.
The
But
TikTok is funny.
it's so hilarious, man. Like people was mad at that Black History quarterback post that we put up. I mean,
Yo, and
they
listen,
was
I
heated
could
over that.
care less. I could care less what those people had to say because if you're not for us, you're against us. And a lot of that talk was, oh, why are we celebrating it? Because it's Black History Month and
It's
it's a
Black
black
History
quarterback.
Month, bro.
Like, bro, if you don't understand why we're it's not for you. So
Yeah.
for all the haters out there, shut the hell up. I could care less.
And I mean, of course, I was being a little petty too. Like one dude was like,
Hey,
"Well, how much longer do we have to talk about this until it's even?" And I was like, "Well, there's 110 years in football existence. We only have four quarterbacks that won a Super Bowl, so let's do this 106 more times, and then we'll call it
let's
even,
go.
and then we can go
Yep,
from there." You
yep.
know. And it's like not to be on my soapbox, but it's the last few days of Black History Month. But it's like, look, you sit here and say, why do we got to make it about race? Well, it's about race because the history that we make either gets swept under the rug, erased, or stolen. Like just to keep it from a sports aspect here, the black athlete was considered to be a Neanderthal. They didn't think we were smart enough to play such an analytical
Quarterback.
position, such as the quarterback. They thought we were stupid, and it wasn't
Lamar
until
Jackson was raked under the rug
I
in the
mean, it's
draft.
still prevalent to this day, but like starting off in the mid '70s when the Rams, drafted the first started the first black quarterback. I mean, from Doug Williams back in the early '80s when he gave the Buccaneers, the Succaneers at the time, when they went 0-16. They were the first franchise to lose all of their games in the season. The very next year, they got Doug Williams. He gave them their first division title and playoff win. What happens? They release him. He goes to Washington. The rest is history. And,
Crazy.
for 4 years he was their winning quarterback. Then they released him, didn't give him
Crazy.
any money. He came to Washington and won. And then the rest is history. But like the point is, like there's been a quantum leap in the game of football, and the people that are spearheading it are black quarterbacks now. We are the prototype now at the position. If you look at college football, that's all you see. Even drop back quarterbacks. Like it's not just all black quarterbacks do is run. No, 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 no. We can throw from the pocket now
Josh
too.
Allen.
You know
Josh
what I'm saying?
Allen. Look at him. Look at Aaron Rodgers before he's not as mobile as he was, but Aaron Rodgers was running the ball. Like
Josh
it's
Allen too. Yeah, like Josh
Josh
Allen
Allen.
he was wrong. Pause. Like he had zero talent from the pocket. He
Right.
just had just nothing but potential. But he
Hmm.
made he thank God was a gym rat and a nerd in the film room and made a quantum leap for the next season. But it's like the mobile quarterback was always put on the black quarterback. Fran Tarkington, the quarterback for the Vikings back in the '70s, like they went to the Super Bowl 4 straight years. They were the first franchise to do that, not the '90s Bills. But Fran Tarkington, he was a small white quarterback, and he couldn't throw from the pocket, so he was always scrambling around, right? So everybody, was like, "Oh, Fran Tarkington is so elusive," and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yo, black quarterbacks been doing this from jump." But as soon as Fran Tarkenton started doing it, as soon as Roger
It's
Staubach
the
started
best thing
doing
since
it,
scratch bread, right?
yeah,
Uh,
you know what I'm saying? So
Steve
from
Young.
there,
Steve Young came in the league. Everybody's loving it. Like, oh,
yeah,
Steve Young is running the ball.
right. But the problem was whenever we did it, it was like that's all we can do.
Right.
Cordell Stewart,
Hmm.
Rodney Peete, Randall Cunningham. It's like that's all
Warren
you guys
Moon.
can do.
Yeah.
You can't throw from the pocket. But something
Even
magical
when we're
happened.
throwing from the pocket. Michael
Yeah,
Vick. Warren
yeah.
Moon. Like,
But something happened, bro. And I think this is what kind of catapulted the black quarterback to the face of the NFL, and that is the RPO and the read option, the birth of that, because it truly opened up the passing opportunities for the quarterbacks. So now you can read your coverages a lot easier now because Bama's is wide open. You got what 7, 8 people in the box because they're scared you're either going to run or hand it off to the running back. So you hold that, you hold. The defense is, delayed for like 2 to 3 seconds. You throw right over the top, and now the spread offense and all this stuff is starting to enable the quarterback to make easier reads. And now, black quarterbacks, they're like, hey, look, now I can run and throw. You know what
now I
I'm saying?
can
So it's like,
utilize my skill set. I can utilize the skill set that I was blessed by God with, that I trained over time, and we're gonna celebrate it.
yep,
One, because it's Black History Month, and two, because we haven't been celebrated enough. We saw how Sports Center and ESPN and all these networks talked about us. So when we have the mic, we're gonna talk about what the hell we want to talk about.
yeah,
That's what Brody Sports Talk is. We're here.
yeah.
We got the mic. It ain't no middleman. We don't have a boss telling us what to talk about. We can talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. And we want to talk about black people.
Right.
We want to talk about sports, but we're going to celebrate our people. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but definitely shout out to everybody who had our back out there. Like it was like a little over 12,000 views from that post alone, so that was pretty funny. But we'll definitely be covering everything as it comes along here, Brodies. But again, if you're not following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, you need to do so. Also, go on Facebook and donate your stars for stars here, so we can donate as much money as we can for financial aid for sports equipment for DMV local boys and girls sports clubs here. Like I said, you never know. You might be financing the next generation of superstar. But until then, it's the Lord Cold War. Here's my main man, Jay Wiggs. We'll see you next week, y'all. Peace.
Peace.